Hi, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden, and welcome. I just sent my book, Breaking Delusion, off to the publisher, and I contacted my book cover artist. I love my book cover artist. My book cover artist is fucking amazing. This is one of the books covers that they did for me. So I wish I had Zombies from Space here, because Zombies from Space is like so fucking sick. The cover for Zombies from Space is so fucking sick. So I have Breaking Delusion coming, and then I have Theory of Love, and then Becoming Zarathustra. So I'm very fucking excited about these books. And it feels even better sitting down and just uploading all of this onto paper from my brain. It's like this massive just release. Like I can finally just, okay, well, that's there now. I can just sit back and it's organized. And when I was writing it, so the way the AIDNS is I need to back up a little bit. There are two massive components that comes to everything, especially with human life, human choice, and that is order of operations and the right formula. It's knowing exactly what to do. So it's what to do and in the right order. And those are your two components. That's it right there. Once you know what to do and in the right order, you're set. And I found the formulas. And when I put the formulas in place, it completely changed my life. And then I gave my formulas to other people and I watched it fix their life. Like it's a waterfall effect. We call it, it's like the ripple effect. It's not the ripple effect. The ripple effect is when A happens and there's consequences. That's all it is. But the waterfall effect is when you have a line of consequences. And when you change this over here, it completely trails down the entire chain reaction and it shifts everything. And that's exactly what happens is it's a shift. So it's the waterfall effect. And let me see if it's even a word. I know I created it, but it may have already been invented by somebody else because it's common sense. And a lot of what I do, waterfall effect. A lot of what I do is just Yep. Okay, so it's already in place. All right. So waterfall effect is when you change a component in the line of chain of events, and it has a effect that just trickles down through the whole thing. And there is a lot in our life. All of mental illness is actually a waterfall effect. And 100% mental illness, mental health, all of it, it's a waterfall effect. So if you change this component here, the whole thing trickles down. And psychologists focus on the symptoms, like the 4th generation to 10th generation of symptoms. I did the trail once where I located the point of origin, the prerequisites prior to the point of origin, and then point of trauma. Point of trauma happens here, but you have to have the prerequisites in place first. So I work over here with foundation, point of origin, and then point of trauma. So, and that is it exactly. You have origin with your prerequisites, and then you have your point of origin, or not your point of origin. Then you have your, it's your prerequisites, then your point of origin, and then you have trauma event. Trauma event is not relevant. Trauma event is a consequence. It's a symptom. The symptom, the actual consequence, is in the prerequisites with your point of origin. If you had received the proper training, proper education, proper ABC, then trauma event never would have taken place. Trauma event is not a catalyst. It's a consequence. And that would set off generation upon generation of events. So when you have a point of origin and you're looking at all the events, every event layer is a generation. And where the DSM-5 is, the DSM-5 literally is in the 10th generation. It covers everything from like 5th generation down to 10th. Fucking useless. Which is why therapy doesn't work, which is why a lot of it doesn't work. Is because it's focusing on the 5th and 10th generation of symptoms. My work focuses on the prerequisites, the point of origin, all of it prior to trauma. and it corrects everything over here. And then it does waterfall effect and it just slides everything into place. And it all is about what to do and in the right order. That's all it is. What to do and in the right order. Now there's 5 components that are part of this. And the foundational core of it is your identity, which in most cases has been tampered with. And then outside of your identity, you have your ethics. All I did yesterday was create the entire mathematical formula of the ethics, how they fit into the component of the identity, how they're integrated. It is deep. It's amazing. I call it Jacob's ladder because, well, I wrote it down. I started to write the graph out. And when I looked at it, I went, it reminds me of Jacob's ladder. So I grabbed the Bible and I looked at the Bible, and Jacob's ladder, this is where it was fucking amazing. Jacob, in his dream, he explains that there were 12 steps. And I went, son of a fucking bitch. And there's a lot where the 12 ethical stages of perspective growth, I really need to sit down and just explain the correlation between the philosophical Bible and not the religious Bible, that's garbage, the philosophical Bible and Nietzsche and philosophy. Like, sit down and really show why and how these things are related. And I do actually in Breaking Delusion. I sit down in Breaking Delusion and I spell it all out. Like, look, this is what Alice in Wonderland, Nietzsche, 2001 Space Odyssey, and Gulliver's Travels all have in common. And the Bible, the philosophical Bible, is right there with all of them. So I figured out the formulas for all of this. And I've been putting people through it. I've been handing it to people. And every time people get it, they just go, there's like a list of things that they say. And one of the things they say is, oh my God, it's so simple. The other thing they say is, that makes so much sense. And my favorite thing that they say is, what was it? What was it? This is the stuff we should have learned when we were kids. Like, this is life. And it's like, yeah, this is literally what we should have been learning in school. And it's the 3 things over and over again. It's life's handbook, how to use your brain, literally. And then it is the simplicity of it, and the logic of it is so pure. It's fucking gorgeous. So I've noticed that when I give it to people, it really doesn't matter what their education level is. Because it's so fucking simple and logical. It's being received by, and I love the brain. This is where I'm like, I know the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind will cling to anything that makes logical sense. It eats data. It eats logic. So if you are given something that makes logical sense, your brain will just take it right in and go, nope, that's mine. It literally hoards and stores logical data. That's all the subconscious mind does. Mental illness occurs when somebody comes along and gives you illogical data, and they use emotional conditioning to fuck up your system. And I know this, so I know how to undo it. And I found, it's the order of operations, and it's what you need to do. So what you need to do is the formula. And then there's the order of operations. So I wrote all of that out yesterday, and there's 5 components. And of the 5 components, the first one has 3 formulas alone. So these are 5 separate groups. And when you put the groups together in their own formula, like it's literally components upon components. It's a lot of data. But this one, the identity, is made up of 3 formulas. And one of my favorite formulas is want, choose, learn, solve, do. That's it. You do that and you're set. Like, that is, of all the formulas, that's the primary one. Want, choose, learn, solve, do. And a lot of people will get stuck at the learn and the solve. They'll want, and then they'll choose, and they'll try and do. But you have to learn and you have to solve it. And this is where a lot of people mess up. Now, the learn solve is actually part of your belief system. This is where your belief system comes in with computations to try and calculate. It's literally equation building. And this is where our education system has really fucked up and failed us, is our education system expects our parents to teach us how to do this. But parents don't know how to do this. And they expect the schools. You really want to know what's going on? Parents, and how many times have we done this? Parents point to the schools going, you need to do this. And schools going, no, this is your job. You need to do this. And parents are going, no, you need to do this. In the meantime, no one's teaching us how to do this. So I'm stepping in and I'm going, all right, we're going to go over this, because this learn solve is the problem. A lot of people don't have the learn solve part of the equation. They want, they choose, and then they do, and they fail because they don't have the learn solve part. So the learn solve part is the part of your brain that does all the calculations and computations. It's your belief system. And your identity defines what you want. Your ethics, which is stage 2, tells you how to do it, ethically how to do it. You're going to do it ethically. So you can want all you want, but the ethics step in and say, you got to be a nice person when you do this. And this is why ethics are so fucking vital. And we live in a society where ethics are undefined, unknown. They are absolutely absent. And people, it's extraordinary to me. Like I could just sit down and write papers all day long on how we view ethics. It's mind-blowing to me. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I'm been an atheist for years, and I will never forget this one time I was I was working retail, and I was stuck working with this Christian zealot. And we were talking about something, and I mentioned something about how I felt about something being ethical. And she just dumbfounded, looks up at me and goes, Anna, you're ethical? Yes, I am godless, and I have ethics. Newsflash, ethics don't come from God. Thank you very much. And it's literally not, I was raised Christian. So I know this belief. I was under this garbage that there is a logical fallacy that Christians live with, which is ethics come from God. No, they don't. Ethics do not come from God. So this logical fallacy is what a lot of second ethical perspectives use, literally, that fuels their prejudice. Bottom line is they have this massive prejudice of, if you are godless, then you're unethical. You're a heathen. And it's literally, second perspectives are in an ethical war. They value ethics. Ironically, they're stuck at the second ethical perspective. And they are obsessed with the concept of you have to be good, you have to be righteous, you have to be ethical. But they don't know anything about ethics. And Jacob's Ladder actually is the breakdown of the stages of ethics, which is what I found, which is how I cured my mental illnesses, which is how I applied them to my life. And yesterday, I broke down the entire mathematical formula. It's fucking gorgeous. And I showed the evolution. It's basically the Fibonacci sequence. Of course, the Fibonacci sequence is part of it. And it's on a constant rotation of evolution. So you can literally see the evolution. It's extraordinary. Beautiful fucking formula. And oh my God, I'm still flabbergasted when I looked at it. It's been in my head, but to see it was just like, this thing is fucking gorgeous. And it's basically it's indulge A, avoid B. And then it's avoid A, indulge B. And then it's integrate A, B while you avoid C and you indulge on Z. And that's like the foundation, those three things. And then it rotates it. But as it rotates it, it evolves and it expands and it grows. So it's literally a growing formula. Evolution. And it's just fucking stunning. So, and here's the thing, because it's the catalyst, the part that I just gave you, the indulge A, avoid B, indulge B, avoid A, and then integrate A, B while you avoid C and indulge Z. While all that formula is going on, A basically is courage. No, I'm sorry. A is safety. And B is adventure. It literally begins with adventure and safety. And it requires the emotion comfort to pull this off. I'm sorry, not comfort, courage to pull this off. So indulging in safety and then indulging in adventure actually gives you courage. And you have to learn how to toggle between safety and adventure properly. That's where you integrate safety and adventure. Now, if you don't indulge on A, safety, then you have a mental illness. And if you don't indulge on adventure, you're going to have a mental illness. And if you don't integrate them, you're going to have a mental illness. And I was able to track down which mental illnesses come from which of these 3 stages. And it's only the first 3 stages. And then I started to put people through it, where I started to, well, I did like 100 interviews. I went all over Manhattan over the last 2 years interviewing people. And every fucking single person, 100% accuracy, came out with this formula. Every one of them. And I went, all right. So I got the logic to prove it. Yesterday, I got the math to prove it. I've had the physics to prove it for a while. And physics just kind of falls. Physics follows logic and math. It doesn't really get integrated. It's just kind of, when it's done right, it just kind of, it's there. And you discover the logic and then you discover the math. And then the physics is just, hi. And it's like, thank you, physics. Because physics is all over the place. And so I've had the physics for a while. And it was just, it's fucking gorgeous how it all clicked into place. So I got the order of operations and I got the defined values. So it's defining the components. And that's what you're going to do in what order. And that is the choose, want, choose, learn, solve, do. So the learn, solve part is where everybody is fucking this up because nobody knows about it. And on occasion, you're going to have like a small percentage of our population where they can do it. And they're the problem solvers. They're the ones who can just problem solve. I have been living in New York City for almost 2 years now without any income because I problem solve. Money literally replaces problem solving. If you can problem solve, you don't need money. And the majority of the population cannot problem solve. They can't. They have no idea what the components of problem solution is. And there's this one, it's common actually, as far as, I got to clarify. I had an undefined antecedent. When you have somebody who lives in the culture and they know how to problem solve, they don't need money. It is common among problem solvers to do this. Problem solvers know this. In fact, when you pay money, you are buying somebody else to solve your problem for you. And if you can problem solve it, why do you need money? So I've been living in New York City for 2 years, Brooklyn for 2 years without an income because I problem solve. I don't need money. And this is such a foreign concept to people. Problem solving is a foreign concept to people. And once you know how to problem solve, you're fine. You are literally so fucking independent. It's disgusting. And that's where my entire life is. So my book, Becoming Zarathustra, teaches people this skill, breaks it down, very simple, logical concepts of this is how to do it. And I call it expansive thinking. Now, problem solving is a part of expansive thinking. And this is not information. It's nowhere else. There's no problem solve. I've read problem solving books. I've looked into it and I'm like, yeah, it's a fraction. It's another component. And that's the point. This is the point. Is you have the ability to, I wrote it actually on my formula here, and I'll just pull up the formula because the formula does it. So let me go over here to my notes. Why try and like quote it when I got it right here? What is this? Shoo. Here it is. So this is it. So there's something in science called the scientific method. Now, I use the scientific method, but before I knew what the scientific method was, I created my own, and mine is fucking extensive. And you basically start with your intuition, which is exactly how science works. You start with your intuition, you feel it. And then you examine and you define. After that, you organize, compartmentalize, sort the components, and then you name the variables. And then your beliefs kick in and you apply math to build the equation. And that is where everyone fucks up their lives. You apply the math to build the equation. Is building the equation. People do not know how to build equations. And then you calculate, you evaluate, you check your work. You conclude, you compose, you implement, and you execute. And then you assess your skills and you modify it to perfection. So those are the stages of, those are the stages of problem solving. A lot of people have no idea how to build an equation. They have no idea what makes up an equation. So they don't know how to do it. The problem is your entire life is nothing but an equation. And here's how. Every event, every situation, and every component in your life adds to your equation. It is not a simple equation. It is fucking complex. And I know how to break it down. So we're going to go over it. Basically, it's write down everything that's ever happened to you that sticks out. Now, you're looking for common denominators. And this is where a lot of people are like, you're going to have two kinds of people. Well, let me rephrase it. You're going to have three kinds of people. The first kind of person is going to see themselves 100% as the only common denominator. This is a logical fallacy. The second type of people are going to see that they are an anomaly. They are going to think that they are not the common denominator. We call those people narcissists. And then the third kind of people is the one who can see themselves as the common denominator and the other common denominators. That is actually correct. You are not the only common denominator in your life. There are other common denominators. And the common denominators, some of them come and go. That doesn't make them not common denominators. You need to break them down into components and groupings. For instance, you are the constant, the common denominator from the time you're born all the way over. Very good. But let's look at the first 10 years of your life. The common denominator in that equation were your parents. Your caregivers were a common denominator. And they were the most important ones because now they're training you. And then in the second stage of your life, usually in your teen years, you have a second stage of your life. So you have the early life, and then you have your teen years to 20s, and then you have usually your 30s. Now, these are components. These are groupings. And you have to look at how each grouping fits together. You're building an equation. So now you're looking at early childhood. You're looking at teens. You're looking at all the events. Now, yes, you are the common denominator. Narcissists need to learn that they are the common denominator. But also, you had a common denominator for 10 fucking years. That is a sizable chunk. Maybe even 15 years or 20 years. And then you look at your teen life. Look at the common denominators there. Just because you transferred common denominators does not mean they were not a common denominator during a certain grouping. And this is what people are not doing. And then they don't know how to learn or solve. They don't know how to assess this. So people build equations every day. Every time you want to change something in your life, you are building an equation. Every time you decide you want to take your life in a different direction, you are building an equation. Every time you problem solve, every time you evaluate, every time you make a choice, you are building an equation. The problem is because you were not taught this skill, you're building a fraction of an equation. You have a part of an equation. And then you calculate, but you have a part of an equation. You are not going to calculate it properly. And this is what happens over and over again, is people don't know how to build proper equations. They don't see all the components. They see components, claim that they are integrated wholes, and say, oh, well, this is an integrated whole, when they're actually holding a component. And then you have other people who aren't even defining a good chunk of what they've got. And then you have other people who are not seeing other common denominators, and they don't know how to do grouping. Grouping is a big part of problem solving, and people don't know how to do it. Now, this is life skill. And parents are going, well, teachers have to teach this. And teachers are going, that's not our responsibility. So you've got this big responsibility argument loop going on between parents and teachers. Parents saying it's education, therefore it's your job. Teachers are going, it's life skills, it's your job. So the life skills, has anyone noticed, are going untaught because parents have classified them as teachables. Therefore, teachers need to do it. But teachers are going, yeah, it's not part of the educational system. It's life skills. Parents need to teach life skills. So we're all growing up with parents going, not it, and teachers going, not it. And we're sitting here going, who the fuck is teaching us these life skills? So we have generation after generation after generation And no one's changing this. I don't play that game. I sit down and I just do. So these are the life skills that you should have been learning. These are the life skills that literally fell in the crack of your education system, in my education system, that parents and teachers went, not it. So as a result, it's not getting taught. And here's what it comes down to. If something is ethical, teachers won't touch it. They think parents need to do that. But parents don't know anything about the ethics. So this is literally all the education that's just kind of lumped into this group that's just not being taught. And this is it right here. This is really it. So life skills. So when you decide to finally do something, when you want to change your life, when you want to heal, what you are pulling on is your ability to want, choose, learn, solve, do. And this is the equation over and over again. I cannot tell you how important it is to do it in this order. Order of operations is fucking vital. And a lot of what I'm seeing is either the equation is missing or people are doing this out of order. If you do it out of order, it won't work. Order of operations and what the formula is they're integrated. They are equally important. So it's literally the order of operations of your life. So I'm going to say it again. It's want, choose, learn, solve, do. Now, in some cases, you're not going to have to learn. You're not going to have to solve. You'll know what to do and you'll just do it. Where I see a lot of people fucking this up is they don't know how to learn. They don't know how to solve. They just do. They fail. And then they sit down and they quit. They get discouraged. They go, well, I don't know what to do. You learn? This astounds me. How many people this astounded me so much that I couldn't figure out what was wrong with people. Like I'm going, what the fuck is going on? And it wasn't until I was doing my case studies and my research that I saw people constantly just sit down and quit. And I'm going, I don't understand, because I didn't do that. I was a learner solver. My learn solve, I'm not in the system. So it was untouched. The system literally takes it away from you. Literally. It's astounding. I was able to trace it back and locate precisely where that comes from. I found it and I went, wow, okay. So the majority of people skip the learn solve part. Now you're in a loop. Want, choose, do, fail. Want, choose, do, fail. Want, choose, quit. And that's literally the cycle we're on now is want, choose, do, fail. Want, choose, do, fail. Want, choose, do, fail, quit. And I'm going, what the fuck happened to learn and solve? No one is learning and solving because that's a life skill where the teachers and the parents are going, not it. So the learn solve is literally equation building. It's literally expansive thinking. It's the part where you sit back and you assess all the components in your life. You identify the common denominators. You do the grouping. I have so many formulas, like all of my workbooks, everything that I build is this right here. And my book, Becoming Zarathustra, this is all I talk about. This is it. Is I walk you through the full process of this. And the learn solve is building the equation, being able to assess that you have the full equation, and it's all the skills required to navigate. And that's really it. It is navigation. It's all the skills to navigate a situation so that you can dissect it properly. And once you're able to navigate the situation properly, and it's the navigation that's got everyone fucked up, is no one's being taught how to navigate. No one knows how to navigate. This is the stuff when you take an IQ test, this is what they test you on. They want to know if you have the skills for navigation and you have the skills for problem solving. And they don't believe it can be taught. They believe that it's instinctive. It's not. Plato knew this. This is taught in philosophy. And this is where it constantly blows my mind away. I've studied the history of our education and the downfall of it, and I'm just like, oh my fucking God. So there are two schools. There was the school in 1088 CE, and this is a university in Bologna. This is the oldest school. Basically, it's a Dark Age university. It is a university that was erected in the Dark Ages. And then you have the classic Greek educational system, which is Pythagoras, Socrates, Plato. Our educational system is based off of the Dark Ages University, not classic Greek. Mine is classic Greek. I went back to Pythagoras independently because the Clinton administration happened. So I'm looking at this going, yeah, okay. And I can see where this school erected back in the Dark Ages. And there's education based off of the Dark Ages. Now, I studied sociology. And I will tell you, their concept of what they thought in the Dark Ages, oh, yeah, all of our education system, that is the point of origin. Your education system has a point of origin of the Dark Ages. Mine is Pythagoras. And that's it. That's the difference. When you have the right point of origin, it just, you know how to problem solve. Because that's what they taught back in classic Greek, was actually problem solving. So you just learn this little bit of information and you're set. You are I burned my finger this morning and I have like this, I just snapped my finger and I'm like, ouch. So it's this, it literally, it's once you shift your point of origin. I'm creating a plugin. You don't have to go through and learn all this stuff. It's a plugin. And that's what this is it's the life skills. It's this plugin. So I'm in the process of creating this plugin. It's a DIY educational plugin. And it's literally, well, as people say, this is all the shit we should have been learning. All the shit where parents and teachers were going, oh, I'm not it. So as a result, it's not getting taught. It's that. It's the education. It's fell in the cracks. I want to say it's what fell in the cracks. I'm coming up with a concept, like there's a word for it. School of cracks. Like it's really amazing. And there's like a plethora of education that just fell in the cracks. And that's where I studied because that's where Pythagoras is, because that's where my point of origin was. So I got all that stuff. And when I came out, I'm looking at everyone else going, what the fuck? What's wrong with you guys? And I see now, I'm like, oh, parents and teachers are playing the not it game. And as a result, we've got generations of people not learning this stuff and it's fallen into the cracks. So it's getting missed. And I'm in the process of pulling it out and integrating it and getting it back into our society and system. Like I have a whole, that's what my team is. That's what the healing garden is. And not having this information literally causes mental illness. Not having this information causes abuse and mental illness. That's how fucking important this is. And it's all because of this fucking Christian religion where people are going, oh, ethics can't be taught by the school system. And the Christians are going, well, religious people are going, oh, ethics are come from God. And because it's God, therefore we can't teach it. And so as a result, this is not in here. This is just, it's not present. Ethics don't come from God. Not at all. It comes from Mother Nature. It comes from math, physics, and logic. That's why people are perfectly ethical without a religion. And the thing is, once you change your understanding of, oh, ethics don't come from God, it comes from nature, it comes from math, physics, and logic, it's suddenly, why do we need a religion? Exactly. It falls apart. And because of this debate, because of the separation of church and state, there's a lot of teachers going, yeah, we can't touch ethics because now you're getting into the line of God and religion. No, you're not. Ethics have nothing to do with God and religion. Ethics is not a subject that needs to be studied. Problem-solving skills, navigational skills, and life skills, these are not religious concepts. These are life concepts. So it keeps coming back to what's the responsibility of the parent and the teacher. So we have children who are growing up without learning these basic things, and parents don't know it. So it's this massive subject is literally just not going taught. I spent a lot of my time yesterday trying to figure out how to summarize this, and it's ontology. That's what it is it's philosophical ontology. It's philosophy. And it is the ability to do expansive thinking. And I'm going to be doing basically healers, educators, and parents are my three primary targets. Bottom line, healers, educators, parents. And then I have a program that I'm going to be putting into the schools for free. And that is and then it's going to be for children. So it's literally the AIDNS for children. So they learn how to do problem solving. They learn how to do, but it's not, it's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. And like I said, once you learn the AIDNS, it literally prevents abuse and it prevents mental illness. And it cures what you originally have because it resets everything. Resets everything as in it just gives you the right if-then clauses to correct the logical thinking in your brain. It's just if-then clauses. And that's the computation that we put our brain through. So you take your identity, whatever your identity is, you take your ethics, and then you merge them together and you put them in the logical belief system part of your brain, which is the third chamber of your cognitive core, the third part of the formula. And when you plug that in, you go through a logical checks and balances. You're doing it right now. You are listening to what I'm saying, and your brain is processing it, checking it to see if it's logical. And if it's logical and compatible with your system, it's going into your system. Every time you choose to listen to something, every time you choose to invest in something and give it your mental energy or your time, it is changing your brain. It is going into your brain and it is altering your thinking if it's logical. If it's not logical, that is also what is being reviewed, assessed, and rejected and or accepted. It's literally a point of choice right there. It's a bid for connection right there in the belief system. And you choose to connect if it's logical, you choose to reject it if it's not. Over and over again. We get 140,000 pieces of data a day. So every time you listen to something, you are taking it in and your logical system is checking it, going, is that logical? Is that logical? Is that logical? And if it's logical, if it's compatible with the logical system you already have, it goes in. If it rejects it, it shuts it out. Now, if you know this, if you're conscious of it, changes the game. It completely changes the game because now you are selective because now you are going, you can look at something and you know now this is going into my composition. Do I want this in my making? Do I want this in my making? So now I'll sit there and I'll watch. I've been doing this for 20 years because I boycott commercials. I will watch something 20 years ago. I'm going to use that example, but 20 years ago, I would be watching commercials and I'm like, I don't want it in my system. And I would reject it. I don't want marketing in my system because I know the psychological manipulation and the conditioning that's going on. I don't want that. So I boycotted commercials because I didn't want the conditioning in my mind. If I'm listening to the radio, I switched over to NPR 20 years ago for this reason. If I'm listening to the radio, I don't want their garbage conditioning my subconscious mind without my consent. I don't consent to that shit. So I'm sitting here in the car listening to a radio station. Suddenly they throw on an advertisement. I know subliminal messaging. I know exactly what they're doing to me. I don't consent. So I started boycotting commercials 20 years ago. I literally, God, it hasn't been 20 years ago. It was 30 years ago. I was 15 when I finally made this choice. So I have not seen a commercial. Listen to me. I have not seen a commercial since 1995. That's right. I'm very proud of this fact. 1995. When I watch TV, I'll be at a friend's house and I'll be watching TV and something will happen where they'll interrupt my story and I will go, what the fuck is this shit? And this very rarely did it happen. I'd be at my father's house and there'd be this thing that happens where they interrupt my story. And it took me a while to realize, oh, right, the rest of the world allows this. It's mind-blowing to me. Absolutely fucking mind-blowing to me. And so marketing is so fucking toxic. It's disgusting. So I switched over to NPR. I switched over to, I will pay whatever the fuck I need to pay to avoid commercials and ads. I won't touch them because I do not consent to the subliminal messaging that's going into my brain. If I want something, I have the intelligence to click on and Google it and look it up. I know how to problem solve. You know how to problem solve, and you don't need McDonald's throwing their shit in your face saying, this is what you want. I don't need that shit. I'm independent. Thank you. I'll do my own fucking shit. Thank you. So when you start to become aware of how this filter in your brain works, Suddenly you're really get protective of it. Get protective of it. Same thing with media. I will not watch media. I have one like I am so aggressive. I don't even like at this point I don't even like going on my Google feed. Like my Google feed is just science now. It's just it's book recommendations, it's scientific recommendations, it's research that's going on, it's new discoveries in science. But it's right at the source. It's not there. So this is how media works. There's the source, and there's the people who are actually there's abstracts out there, so you can actually read the abstracts. And then there's the people who are in the field doing the research. And you see that with oh, what's a great example? I can't remember the name of the magazine. It's like science magazines. I'll have to look it up here. And then there's one in particular. National Geographic is a great example of it. National Geographic, and this is it. There's levels of media. So this is the breakdown. This is the hierarchy of media. So you have the tabloids, and a lot of people think the tabloids are shit, and then there's everything else. Well, no, it's not black and white. The tabloids is the bottom of the barrel, but then you've got media above that, and then you've got another media above that, and then you've got the researched resource, and then you've got the original resource. So again, waterfall effect. So you got the point of origin, which is the original resource. We call those abstracts. You want truth? Go there. You want truth? Go to the abstract. That's where I do my research. I go right to abstracts. And then there is the first generation. Now, the first generation is highly credible. These are people who have done the interviews, done the research, cited their sources. Fucking excellent shit. First generation. The majority of media you get is second, third, fourth, and tabloids. And I read an article last night. Fucking gorgeous article. Oh my God, did I love this article. This article, let me go back to it because I love this article. It's Mozart's music does not make babies geniuses. And this author, it's from McGill's University in California, Office for Science and Society, separating sense from nonsense. And she breaks down, he breaks down the scientific method that was used during this study. It was actually on college students, and it proved nothing. It was inconclusive. But they traced it down and showed how media influenced this entire research that was done. And then it was so manipulated and altered. And then you had people who came in and then marketed it and played off of it, which were filled with false accusations all the way back from the third generation. It was extraordinary. It was absolutely beautiful. There's this other media source. So this is one of them. This is McGill. Like I said, I love shit like this. The other one is, I think it's called Mad in America. Mad in America. Oh my God, I love Mad in America. Mad in America is basically, it's everything in mental illness, everything in mental health that's pissing everybody the fuck off. And it's all cited, it's all resourced, it's all. So there's like this massive push right now of media that's fighting back. I love indulge, avoid, integrate. And that's all this is. We've had an indulgence of shit information since 1988, the age and dawn of the internet. We have been plunged into 1995. Let's say 1995. Since the dawn of the internet up to, what are we up to? 2024. There has been so much sewer sludge of bad information, and we've indulged in it. And now we're all going, oh, look at that. We've been irresponsible with all of the information we've had. We're going to go the other way. And now we're swinging to the other side where we're all going, Mad in America is doing this. This particular article is doing this. Not article, the whole website is dedicated to, we're going to get information correct because this is fucking bullshit. We are starting to see the repercussions of misinformation. And now everyone's swinging over going, where's the fact? Where's the fact? Because this is fucking bullshit. And we hear it with the internet does not lie. That's like an ongoing joke now. It was actually a line from the movie Home. The internet does not lie. And so we have this massive swing over now to avoidance. And it's now we want solid truth. Like, let's give us the truth. And I remember Wikipedia. I love Wikipedia. Wikipedia is renowned for citing its resources. If you don't cite its resources, there will be a red blaring button that comes up saying, not enough resources have been cited. Now, I'm going to tell you a story. When I did my research, this is my Norse book. This is John Lindo. John Lindo is a professor at the University of California, and he is the leading authority on Norse mythology. He knows his shit. 100% of all of the Norse mythology articles on Wikipedia cite this book. I said, well, I love you, Wikipedia. You're more like the Cliff Notes. And I just bought the book. And then I sat there and I use Wikipedia now. When I do my Old Norse mythology research for my book, I go to John Lindo's book. Now, that's a big book. So now I know to use Wikipedia, which will just, and this is the best part, is it will cite, and then it will give me a page number. So I can just pull up my John Lindo book, and there's the information. Now, I went deep into my research. So fucking deep that I had to leave Wikipedia, the United States. I went into Wikipedia, Denmark, Wikipedia, Norway, and then I had to translate it through Google Translate. And I got to see their Wikipedia comparison. I'm going to tell you right now, don't fucking shit on Wikipedia, United States. Holy fucking shit. I got into theirs and I went, wow, you want to talk about opinionated and biased? It was a whole nother level of low quality when it came to just random shit being thrown out there. No citation. That's a United States thing. And I just went, oh my fucking God. It was mind-blowing. It was very biased. It was very, this is how great our country is. United States is all about, yeah, give me the facts. But not all of us, because we got this like messed up thing. The reason why I love this though, when I saw Wikipedia from the other countries, they pointed me in directions. It's great for looking for arrows. It's great for arrows, not for information, for arrows. So it pointed me into information that allowed me to dig deeper. And that's when I found books. That's when I found treasures. So I could not take it at face value. But what I could, because in his, this is what it is they had local legend. They had country legend. The United States doesn't have this. We're 200 fucking years old. Our legends are, we killed a lot of Native Americans, but we don't talk about that. That's our legend. It's dirty. Theirs is 2,000 years old. 1,000 years old. It's been oral tradition passed down for so fucking long that it's legendary fact. So what I found in Denmark's page and what I found in Norway was Wikipedia that was citing their country's legend as fact. Now I know this. So it was like, wow, this is a really different experience. But the United States doesn't have any kind of a 2,000-year-old past. The people who had that information, we slaughtered a couple years ago. Oh, a couple hundred years ago. So we don't have that information. So we don't have anything. We have to have the fact because we don't have legend. We don't have story. we got nothing because we're a copycat country. So it did allow me to find other resources. It did provide books, like according to Snorri Sturluson. Now, the United States Wikipedia mentions Snorri Sturluson all over the place, but that was a great example. They gave me a little bit more information. For instance, another thing I noticed was there's two Olafs. There's Saint Olaf and then there's Olaf Tryggvason. Not the same people. And Olaf Tryggvason was 995 CE is when he died. And he is the one who Christianized Norway. Saint Olaf, 200 years later in the 1100s, that Olaf is the one that is immortalized and everyone knows Saint Olaf. So there's two Olafs. So figuring all this out and sorting it all out was like an adventure. But I'm definitely seeing, like with the internet, there's a lot of people who are like, we're fucking sick of the bullshit. And this is what I refer to as the game. There is a game happening. Now, I am out of the game. So this is me as an outsider looking at the game. The game is basically made up of two teams. Now, you can be on, and there's many types of games. It's the game, but there's groups, and every group has its team. So this is what I see. There's hundreds of groups, and every group has its team. Sometimes there's 3 or 4 groups or 3 or 4 teams in a single group. So the most common group is the political group, and it's divided between the Republicans and the Democrats. And then there is another group, and that group is divided between the religious and the non-religious. And then there's another group, and that group has teams that are everything wrong with the world today as far as the environment goes, environmentalists, and people who aren't environmentalists and who don't care. And when you play the game, you're choosing sides, and you start fighting amongst yourselves, and you start bickering. Now, I noticed something. The more people play this game and they choose sides and they argue, the government's doing shit. People are doing shit. But that's not part of the game. They're off doing their own thing. And I'm looking at it going, interesting. Very interesting. And what I'm finding interesting about this is basically it looks like, I would almost say that people above the game started the game using the media, purposely stirring the pot with the media to get everybody choosing sides, groups, and arguing while they go off and do whatever the fuck they want without anyone noticing. That's what I noticed. Now, I noticed it because I stepped out of the game and said, I'm not playing the game. Because that's what they want you to do. They want you to get caught up in all the little which side you're going to choose. And I just walked away from it all and went, I'm outside of the game. I am so far outside of the game, it's disgusting. I am removed from the game. Like people ask me, are you single? I don't play that game. Are you coupled? I don't play that game. That's another game. Are you, what's your gender identity? I don't play that game. Are you monogamous or are you poly? I don't play that game. Because the minute you start playing that game, you're distracted from the point. And I'm focused on the point. And that's really it. You can either be focused on the point or you can play the game. And I'm focused on the point. I teach people, if they want, how to focus on the point and walk away from the game. People, I hear it, and I'm just, it makes me cringe. What do you do for a living? I don't play that game. I don't. Because the minute you start doing sheep, parroted, mindless conversation without really, do you really want to know what I do for a living? Is that really so? Or are you just regurgitating statements to me because you want to converse? You have the feeling like you want to connect, but you really don't know how to do it. So you're pulling from some generic random habit that you've been trained to do like a sheep. And you want to connect, but you really don't know how. You really just don't give a fuck what I do for a living. And that's really the truth of it. We're trying to connect, but we have no fucking idea what to do. So we're just going over the habitual repetition without any kind of concept. I don't play that game. Like it's one of my core rules is if you want to engage in me, you have to do it with awareness and mindfully. And that's really it. I require full mindfulness and awareness in order for someone to interact with me. And as a result, there's a lot of it. And that's a really good way to sit back and just evaluate. Do I want to go to this event? Well, are people going to be aware and mindful? Or are they going to follow a bunch of habitual parroted information to try and connect without actually connecting? And what that is they want to connect. They choose to connect. That's why they're at the event. And then they do. And it's not working. They have not learned or solved. And that's where awareness and mindfulness come in. They have not learned and they have not solved. They want to connect. They've chosen to connect. They go to an event and they try to connect, and then they fail. And then they rinse and repeat. And we're on this want, choose, do, fail. Want, choose, do, fail, want, choose, because learn and solve has been removed from the equation. Awareness and mindfulness clicks that back in. You need to take learn and solve and click it back in. When you click it back in, suddenly you can problem solve it and you can figure out, oh, I want to connect with you. Now we're talking. You want to connect with me. Great. You don't know how to do that, do you? You don't know how to connect, do you? A lot of people don't. It's okay. Human connection is just communication, which brings to the question of how do you communicate so that a connection is made? Well, you need want. You need what? There's like 3 questions that I ask. The first one is, what are your passions? And you need purpose. A lot of people do not have purpose. This is the thing that we're not talking about in events. So you have to know what you want. You want to connect. Okay. What is your agenda? What is your goal? What is your purpose? What qualities do you have, and what qualities do they have, and what interests do you have? This is something that we never talk about. Qualities and interests. What do I do for a living? Oh my fucking God, I will punch the next person who asks me that question. I am a pacifist. I would never do that, but it is infuriating. What do I do for a living? I literally answer it with this, guess. That's how I answer it every time. What do I do for a living? Guess. We're going to play a game. Guess. You try and guess what I do for a living. It's been interesting. And it's really fascinating. People can't do it. They're like, they'll go through the 20 questions and I'm like, you can't figure out what I do for a living. And the reason why is I'm very difficult. I'm not difficult. I'm just not easy. Like, why am I making it easy for you? You're not being honest with me. You want to be honest with me? Well, my most favorite line in all of the movies is in not Finding Forrester. What's it called? Matt Damon, Robin Williams. Is it Finding Forrester? There are too many movies in the world spent looking for Matt Damon. No, not Finding. That was Sean Connery. Who? What was that movie? All right, Robin Williams, Matt Damon. There's only one movie with Robin Williams and Matt Damon. Good Will Hunting. There you go. So in Good Will Hunting, it's when he finds Minnie Driver. They're at this bar, and he says, do you want to go out for caramellos or something? And she goes, caramellos. He goes, yes, best line in the fucking world. Yes. People usually ask, do you want to go out for coffee? But no one actually means coffee. That's not the point. The point is, I want to go and meet you and talk with you and learn more about you. But we say coffee, but we've been saying coffee for so long that we have forgotten what coffee actually means. So why are we saying coffee? Let's change it up. Do you want to go out for some caramellos? And I'm like, there you go. There you go. That's the way it's fucking done. That's right. Change it up. And the reason why is because there's parrots. There's mindful awareness. And that's it. There's a lot of people out there who aren't doing the mindful awareness. And it's really what do you want? What is your goal? And it's the same answer for everybody. We want to connect. And I would fuck with people. I would. I'm like, oh, you want to connect? Do you have any idea how to do that? I do. But do you have any idea how to do that? Do you want to try it? And I could walk them through it, but that's boring. No, I got. Let's do an adventure. And to connect, you have to have a purpose, which is to connect qualities and interests. You have to match qualities and interests with action. There's the formula. I'll write it down. So it's qualities plus interests with action. You have to have a purpose, but the prerequisite is desire, agenda, or a goal, and purpose. So you take desire, agenda, and purpose, and then you match your qualities and interests with qualities and interests of others. And then you put them together in a single mutual action that emanate the desire, the agenda, and the purpose. But action is literally the most important piece of that equation. Now, when you go to, and so that's the correct formula. That's how you're supposed to do it. However, what we're really doing is this. What we are really doing is, where's all my papers? Are all my papers? Here's a blank space. So here's how this works. This is what we're really doing. So again, the equation is desire, agenda, purpose. That's group A. That's your prerequisite. And then you have your qualities and interests with their qualities and interests, and you have to align them. You need to do that. A lot of people aren't doing that. And then you have action, mutual action with your desires, agenda, purpose. What's really going on is no desire has been identified. There's no agenda. People love to say, I have no expectations. Oh, fuck no. What are you doing? Have expectations. This whole new age bullshit of, I don't want any expectations. Expectations do not mean pressure. We need to talk about this. So the concept of I'm going in without any expectations, what the fuck are you doing? This is something that really pisses me off. If you go in without expecting to have fun, this is what people use to avoid disappointment. It is an avoidant response, and it's very toxic. If I'm expecting to have fun when I go out, I had better fucking have fun. And if I'm not having fun, why the fuck am I going out? Look, the concept of no expectations, and I get what they're really saying. They don't want to put pressure on you. And this is what it is. They're doing it because they want sex. That's really what it comes down to. They want sex, but they don't want to be an ass. They hope for, they wish for, but they don't want to put any pressure. So they actually have an agenda, but they're going to put it over there. Oh, I don't have any expectations. No, having no expectations means I'm here to have sex. I want to have sex. I'm hoping it's you, but I don't want you to feel any pressure. I want it to happen naturally. So I'm going to lie and say I have no expectations. You have expectations because in 2 to 3 dates, if you don't put out, they're gone because you had expectations. Be fucking honest. All right, now. So here's the formula. Is people are going in without desire. They're going in without agenda. They're going in with purpose, but they're being deceitful. They're lying about their purpose. They're hiding it. So they have deceitful purpose. That is what they've got. They're going in with deceitful purpose. They are not comparing qualities. They are not comparing interests. They're trying to. So they ask, what's your job? Why are you asking me that? They ask, are you married? Do you have any kids? Where did you come from? Great. So you brought up 3 traumas for me, and I just met you. That's how it used to be for me, is I would, like, my job was traumatic. My married life, my ex had just thrown me out like a couple years ago. No, I wasn't married. Thank you for bringing up a really painful subject for me. My family, he took my daughter with him. My family, oh, they've disowned me. Long ago did they disown me. Thank you for bringing up a painful subject. Where am I from? I could punch you in the throat. I'm a pacifist. I would never do that, but I'd want to. And there it is. The 4 primary questions we ask are like, wow, you've completely removed my autonomy from me with asking me if I'm married. God forbid you ask if I am interested in being open to receive any kind of sexual interest from you. And you've brought up painful subjects now that remind me of my traumatic past. What the fuck are you doing? These are not the questions to ask if you want to know someone's qualities or interests. Those are the dead end stupid questions that everyone just keeps asking over and over again on repeat. And then we're not doing anything. Oh, this one pisses me off. We're not actually doing anything. We are sitting around drinking beer, or we're having a coffee. We are drinking. Drinking coffee or having a beer at a bar is not doing anything. Breaking bread, I'm Irish. We don't break bread unless we're family, friend, or kin. breaking bread with somebody bonds you to them. It's a big deal. That's why we do it. But we're consciously aware of it. The Irish are really consciously aware of what it means to raise drink with somebody. Oh, there's intent. When you are Irish or Scottish and you raise drink with somebody, you are soul bonded to them. It's like really, it's an intense thing. I remember this one time I was at this, oh my God, what a horrible woman. And she was like, it was New Year's, and she's like, we're going to drink. And I'm like, I will not raise my glass with you. I said those words to her exactly like that. I will not raise my glass with you. And it's simple. I'm Irish. We don't raise our glasses with our enemies. That's fucking stupid. You don't do that. So yeah, there is mindful awareness when it comes to food and drink when you're Irish. There's meaning. That's why there's so many pubs in New York City. This is why. So this is why it matters. So there's not actually any action when you do something. There's actually nothing being taken place here. So, and it's the same formula. It's this broken formula on repeat. And people go through the mindlessness of, all right, I'm going to choose, I'm going to do, I have failed again. And they walk away just feeling like, okay, that didn't do anything. You wanted a connection. This is not how you do a connection. Asking someone what their job is, if they're married, what their family is, where they're from, that's not a connection. So I came up with this little thing that I do now when I'm out. And the rule number one is absolutely no one's allowed to ask those 4 questions. Those 4 questions are banned questions. The question that you can ask is, what passions drive your dreams? What passions drive your dreams? The other question that I ask, which I fucking love, is, at a place like this, what is the one topic you love talking about more than anything? What is your favorite topic to talk about? I love this question. What is your favorite topic to talk about? What topic lights you up? To ask this question is like gold. You put them so much in the driver's seat, and they are guaranteed to talk about something passionate. They are guaranteed to talk about something excited. And now all you have to do is be the audience and engage. And it's so much fun. What topic lights you up? What is your favorite thing? What is the topic you are most passionate about? So now we're talking about topics and we're talking about passions. Now, a person is always going to choose, like, top of the list. What's the one thing that's going to make me excited and I'm going to want to talk about it? And we're off. Boom. Instant passion. Now you've got energy. Now you've got want, desire, excitement, engagement. By the way, that's how you connect. That's how you do it. They have to be emotional in order to connect. I'm going to say that again. You want to connect, you have to have emotion. Emotion is how you connect. Emotion and words equals connection. You throw action in there, emotion with words and action, you really got connection now happening. But people aren't talking. Emotions aren't allowed. Emotions are completely thrown out. So in order to engage in the emotional aspect, you need to hit a topic that's going to make them passionate and excited. So passion and topic. Now you've got them talking with words, and they're excited and happy because they're talking about something they love. Now, I remember this one that I think I was on my second try with this experiment. And I was going through and I was asking people this question, and I got 10 different comments. Like, it was extraordinary. But I remember this one woman, I love her so much. Two conversations really lit up that night, but one of them really stuck with me. I asked her what passion drives her dreams, and she said, my job. Now we're talking. And I went, what do you do? And she went, I am a road engineer. And I went, yes. Now that is a topic that fascinates me because I did a whole history on roads, and I told her about this. I said, oh my God, I got it. And I pulled out paper. I pulled out paper and I started taking notes. And I said, I have so many questions for you. So back in 1995, 1997, I watched a documentary, a 2-hour documentary on the history of roads. Fascinating. I love architecture. 2 hours of the history of roads. And it left off. And it stuck with me. So here now I have this road engineer and I went, you're like the sequel to this documentary I watched 20 years ago. So I was able to finally ask her all these questions to follow up. And it was like I did get to watch the documentary that I love passionately. We found an interest. We have an interest together now. And all I had to ask her is, what passion drives your dreams? Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And to add the action to it is the other thing. That's like a huge launches it in that direction. So that is if you want to connect with somebody, emotion, words, action. And I'm going to tell you right now, job, married, family, where you grew up, that is not going to do it. Get rid of those fucking questions. They are garbage questions. And this is what it is people are afraid of rejection. So they hide behind these generic brain dead questions because they don't want to risk rejection. If you don't want to risk rejection, you got some fucking work to do. You should not be socializing. If you are afraid of rejection, you are not, I can tell you, so you are feeling subjective and you probably are an empath and you're probably picking up on a lot of emotions that are everybody else's because you are experiencing sympathetic subjectivity, which means you are not objective. You are not biased. I'm sorry, you are biased. Subjectivity means that you are biased and you are open to receive and absorb or take in their feelings. If you are objective, you are indifferent to their story and you're not going to feel it. If you are objective, then you're set. If you are subjective, that means that you have failed to self-regulate. You are absolutely not regulating, not doing self-care, and you have not done the mental work that you need to socialize. You have no fucking business socializing. If you claim to be an empath, you are glorifying a mental illness. Get your fucking ass into a self-care area and take care of yourself. You should not be socializing when you're subjective. People glorify empathy and it's fucking disgusting. It's not empathy. It is subjective biased. It is disgusting. It's because they have failed to self-regulate, because they don't know how to have a conversation without absorbing and taking all of the story of somebody else in. It's identity displacement. That's what you're doing. It's identity displacement. You are projecting your own trauma onto somebody else, and you're not being responsible about it. You're glorifying it with the word, oh, I'm an empath. No, you're fucking not. You are a mentally ill person who has failed to self-regulate, and therefore you are subjective bias with an unchecked level or metric of sympathy. You need to get your fucking ass into your self-care and take care of yourself. God, I can't stand it when people claim that they're empaths. Not something to be boasting about. An empath, a real empath, empathy is the ability to assess consciously whether or not they should say something prior to there being an emotional response. In true empathy, there is no emotion. In true empathy, you are consciously using foresight to say, how would this person feel if I said these words? Would it hurt them? That's true empathy. It is the ability to use conscious, sympathetic foresight before the emotions are all over the place. That's what empathy is. Look it up. Look at the definition of the word, because that's empathy. It's when you use conscious foresight to say, oh, should I say this really asshole thing to this person? How would they feel if? And then you say this before you say the words, hence foresight. So it's literally consciously applied foresight while you evaluate how somebody could potentially feel about something you have to say. That's empathy. This other thing is mental illness, mostly borderline personality disorder. And it's disgusting how our culture glorifies it. It's fucking disgusting. It's a branch of narcissism. So Emotions plus words plus action. And that is how you connect, emotions and words. And it's really, you need a passionate topic. And breaking the ice is basically going in with a plan or without a plan. And a lot of people go in without a plan. The whole, oh, I have no expectations. Great. So you're going in without a plan? I don't have any agenda. So you're going in without a plan. Why would you do that? Why are you going if you don't have a plan? And there's a difference between it. For instance, I love adventure. Oh my God, do I have an obsession with adventure? I am obsessed with adventure. And I go in with a plan. It's a sporadic adventure plan, and it's a plan. Sporadic adventure. I love sporadic adventure. And that is the plan. And I know how to do it. I have a thing that I do. So I basically go in with an agenda, because I have a plan, and a goal. The goal is to have fun. And so here's how it works. I have 3 components that are mandatory. 1, I have to go somewhere with an action, and it has to be absolutely undefined up until the moment, and it has to be something I've never done before. That's it. Never done before. The second thing is I have to find somebody new. And I call it a game. It is a game. I call it Sunshine Imagination Adventures. And it is literally wherever the hell I'm going. Hey, you want to play a game with me? So I love sporadic adventure. What do you want to do right now? Let's go. Let's go right now. Let's do it. Well, what do you want to do? Yeah, and you have to have 3 things. I always have 3 things that I do. And my 3 things are, well, I have the new place. It's a new place, new person. And there was another thing. I can't remember what it is right now. But it was a formula that I did literally from 2020 all the way up until 2022. That's all I did was, let's go on an adventure. And new place, new person, new event. That's what it was, new activity. And the agenda was the sporadic adventure. It had to be the sporadic adventure. And it was looking for opportunity in the area in which where I was. It was literally a let's look for opportunity. So it was, this is why I'm in Manhattan. So it was this huge driving force behind everything that I did. And it propelled so much forward for me. It was just massive. And the other, like the rules of the game were, you're not allowed to ask questions, the job, married, family where. And I summarized it with no questions. You could not ask any questions. If people, and I would not, my name was Anna Imagination, and it really came down to, I'm from everywhere and nowhere. That's all they needed to know. I'm from everywhere and nowhere. You're not allowed to ask questions. And then it was new place, new person, new activity. Sky's the limit. What do you want to do? And I would throw the formula at them. What do you want to do? What interests do you have? What qualities do you have? And then they would propose it. And I would use my metric to determine if I wanted to do it. And for me, I always said yes. I was like, yes, let's do this. And it was always yes. So what do you want? Your interests, your qualities, and then your shared mutual activity. And it was just spontaneous. It really was. So I had literally a formula for spontaneity adventure. It was so fucking awesome. I'm actually in the process of building this game into the Healing Garden for people to meet friends, so that you just punch in like a members only, but you would punch in I want X amount of people, these genders, this location, this duration, this budget. And you punch that in. And then my system would generate a scavenger list agenda for you with a variation of components. And literally it's friend on demand is what we're calling it. Friend on demand. And there's also going to be an option of, is this a special occasion? So if you're doing it on your birthday, boom, instant. And the best thing is you could be partnered up with somebody else who's also on their birthday, boom. And we use my mathematical AI DNS to do all the matchmaking and partnering up. So you get somebody who is like your people. So we find people for you. And instead of, so I'm very excited about this. And this is going to be worked into this is the playground. This is Anna's playground. And it's, sunshine, imagination, adventures. Yep. Yep, that's it. Honest playground, sunshine, imagination, adventures. This is how it works. So I'm breaking down this formula and going over it, and I'm like, yes. Because this is, it was so fucking amazing. It was like the most fun I'd ever had in my life. And I had people who were like, you are so much fun. I am fun. Oh, I am fun. I know how to have fun. I know how to have fun. And I found the formula for fun. And so I put it together and I'm like, this is the formula for fun. This is how it's done. So I used this mathematical equation to have fun. And I just cycled through it for like 2 years. Oh my God, it was so much fun. And I am, that's it right there. But I used it for making friends. I used it for finding people. Now, at the time, I lacked certain components of the equation, which I got bad people. Now I got the right equation, so now I can make sure I get good people, proper people. So I'm going to take my fun equation, and I'm going to take my people person equation, and I'm going to merge the equations. And then I'm going to have like the playground. So that's my plan right now. That's my agenda. Yeah. All right, thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.